Hey, how's it going? I've got some time with these two quadcopters, and I thought I'd shoot a short video kind of giving my opinion on which one is the best value for anyone who's considering buying one of these eliminated the 4K versions, you eliminated the 4, and now you're down to the 2K versions. You want to know, should I get the standard or should I get the advanced? So I'm going to tell you right now, if I had to do it again, if I had to do it all over, I would go with the advanced version with a couple of modifications, and I'll explain to you why. If you do your research, you'll find out that the standard version has been rated best value for cost and features. Um, and with a couple of modifications, you even get more value out of it, and they're not even that expensive. Yeah, the advance is a great thing. You get the light bridge that gives you distance. You have these downward facing sensors, which I don't think I would ever use. I don't think I would be flying this in my living room. On the website, you see some guy flying this at a wedding over top of people's heads. I don't think we would be doing that. It would be very loud and annoying to the people below it. Um, so what do you got? You got the controls. The controls, yeah, that's a much beefier control that you're going to be paying extra for. But all the buttons and switches on this can actually be controlled through the app. So that control is actually capable. It doesn't have the fancy push buttons and rockers, but it has toggle switches and slide switches. It tells you the battery voltage. So I think it's totally capable. So yeah, we'll go with this one. And the modifications that I would do is, if you've done any research, you've seen that DJI says that this thing can go kilometer. On my first test, I got it out 1,500 feet and lost signal when it came back to me. So doing some research, I found out guys are doing these signal antenna booster mods, and I found a company online that was called ARG Tech. I was looking on eBay for one of their antenna mods, and I came across this other mod, probably out of China. Cost 36 bucks. Thought I'd give it a try because it was half the price of ARG Tech, and it worked perfectly. So it took me from 1,500 feet out to I believe 3,700 feet, and I was getting very close to losing signal. So I brought it back, but it works great for getting you out that kilometer. And if I'm not mistaken, FAA regulations say that you shouldn't fly this out of line of sight, and a kilometer for me is well out of sight, even with my glasses on, even if there were no trees or anything in front of me. So yeah, you can get this quadcopter for like 400, 420, depending on whether it's new, used, open box. Then you throw in a $36 antenna mount. Really easy to do. Pop open the controller, couple screws. Much easier than doing an antenna mount on this controller, which looks like it has the makings of a computer inside of it. Um, and then you pop off the old antenna coax cables and pop on the new antenna coax cables, and you're good to go. I mean, very simple installation. The second thing that I did was I stopped using the DJI Go app, and I used the Litchi app. So do some research, Litchi, flylitchi.com, and see the capabilities of that software. But DJI is limiting the capabilities of their quadcopters through the software. They've narrowed down the Wi-Fi channels to 8 channels instead of the 32 that it originally had, which probably restricts your distance because you might not be able to find a clear channel as you're flying out. Litchi gives you those 32 channels. Litchi also has, if you're talking about distance, talking about light bridge versus the basic Wi-Fi communication. Litchi actually, while people might say this is unsafe, you can actually program a flight mission that goes beyond the reach of your controller, but it will continue on that flight pattern. You'll lose telemetry, you'll lose picture, but it will continue on that flight pattern and come back to you based on how you've set your waypoints up. It's kind of scary the first time you do it. I didn't actually take it out of signal range, but I can tell you I'd be scared if this thing was flying around for 10 minutes and I didn't know what it was doing. But if you think about it, you can get well beyond the distance of this because you could set a waypoint 5 kilometers out. It will fly out to 2 or 3 or 1, whatever it gets radio signal to. You lose radio signal, will continue on its mission, come back to you, and you'll get the signal back when it came back in range. So at least she also gives you more control over the camera itself. The DJI Go app will limit you to 30 frames per second on this camera, 60 frames per second on this camera, But when I use the Litchi app, I was actually able to run this camera at 60 frames per second. It actually gives you control over the hue, something that's kind of like built into it. And you know, even comparing this to features of the Phantom 4, DJI could have done this with these quadcopters. The Phantom 4 has the active track where it kind of, you can highlight something, a car or a person, and hit track and it will follow it visually through the camera. Litchi, you're actually able to do it with these quadcopters. I've done it with the standard. I took it out, first time I tested Litchi, took my son out to a field, just in case it didn't work. Highlighted him and said, hey, run that way. And he got 5 steps in and this thing shot off after him. As soon as he stopped, it stopped. He turned around, it backed away from him. So it was able to track like the Phantom 4. So you're actually getting the feature that the Phantom 4 has for still your $400, $500 total purchase, and getting much more value out of this quadcopter. So hopefully this gives you some insight on whether or not to buy this one versus this one if you're trying to get into it at a lower cost than, you know, buying a $1,200 quadcopter for your first experience. Like I said, I just bought this thing to get into aerial photography, and I wanted to see what I could do with this thing. Both of these cameras are pretty much the same as far as HD quality, and with the exception of that being Wi-Fi communication and this one having light bridge via a hardline tie into the remote, this quadcopter is totally capable. And with the extra money you save over this one, that would probably start you about 7, 8 if you bought it new. You can go out and buy yourself a couple extra batteries, and that's more essential than a downward facing sensor. So again, I think if I had to do it again, I'd buy the standard with the antenna mod, and use Litchi app to take me well beyond what this one could do if I wanted to, and save a lot of money. So hopefully that helps you make a decision if you're thinking about buying one of these two. If it does, give me a thumbs up, maybe like and subscribe to the page, and I will get back to you.